Hey everybody, this is Kevin Hensel from Fit for Life, and I've been a trainer for just about, a little bit over 15 years now, and probably one of the most common questions I seem to get is, what do I eat to stay in shape? So I thought I'd kind of put together this little video tape for us, so I can give you guys a good idea of what I eat in a day. Excuse my pajamas, but it is just about 5:30 in the morning on Saturday morning, and I usually wake up around 4, so I'm kind of sleeping in a little bit this morning. So, and also Christina is sleeping next door, and I've got every light on in the house, so hopefully she won't wake up because she's not quite as pleasant as I am in the morning. So I'm just going to get right into breakfast. What I normally eat for breakfast, the most important thing about breakfast is eating breakfast. You should eat within 30-60 minutes of working out so you can fire up your metabolism, get all your juices flowing. And if you're looking to lose weight, you've got to start your day off with breakfast, 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. If you wait longer than 60 minutes, I know sometimes people will get caught up in their emails and doing this and that around the house or take a shower before they eat, but unfortunately the longer you wait, the more your body's going into a starvation mode, so it's going to start holding on to calories even more, and it will hold on to fat, it will hold on to every calorie like its last one. So as soon as you wake up, don't get caught up in anything, just go straight to your food. And if you're not really a hungry kind of person in the morning, I know a lot of people don't like to eat anything in the morning. Sometimes that's like when a protein shake can come in handy, something that's quick, it's liquid, doesn't take a lot of time, you can drink it while you're getting prepped or doing your shower or something along those lines. Just making sure you get it in is by far the most important thing. So let's look at my pantry and see what we got. I usually like to start off with a little bit of cereal. Alright, now as you'll see, I like lots of cereal. So I have a whole bunch of different cereals here, like a little bit of variety in the morning. So what I usually do is I always try to make sure I get a good whole grain, but here's a couple of my classics. The Kashi Go Lean is probably one of my personal favorites. We have Kashi Autumn Wheat, another one of my personal favorites, and it's really tasty. The Go Lean, some people aren't really too big into that taste, and that's why I always try to usually pick a healthier cereal, and I kind of sprinkle on some, call it a little bit of a sweeter cereal, and I'm not saying Frosted Flakes or Honey Nut Sugar Cones or anything along those lines, or Count Chocula kind of cereal. I just think of a cereal that may have a little bit more sweetness to it, and that's why I like these little cinnamon puffins. These are really good by Barbara's Bakery. These are really, really good, and I also like the Kashi Strawberry Fields. Is a kind of a nice little sugary cereal. It doesn't have a lot of sugar in it per se, but it also just gives a nice little sweet taste, so it's not so bland and boring, which sometimes this Kashi Go Lean isn't the most exciting taste in your mouth. I also really like Trader Joe's bite-sized shredded wheat. Really good. It has no sugar in it at all, so I definitely put in a nice little, when I say a handful, I'm just talking about maybe 10 to 12 little squares, just to give a little bit of flavor. It has a really nice cinnamon flavor to it. And these are probably my favorite cereals that there are, and they're really, really healthy for you. You always want to make sure you get a nice whole grain cereal, and there's so many cereals out there, it's hard to know what's whole grain because not every cereal says it's whole grain, but you want to look, there's a great little insignia on most foods, and I'll pull this up close for you, but it's basically right about here, and it can be on the side of any food panel. It isn't just for cereal, but it's all for all foods. It says made with, or it says whole grains. It says whole grains on it. It's a yellow insignia, and it basically lets you know that it's about as whole grain as it's going to be, and there's an actual set of standards just to get this little tag. So if you can find a food that has that on it, get it really close for you. It's really, really a good idea to look for this little insignia because it'll let you know. Because this Go Lean cereal, just to give you an idea of what's in it, 13 grams of protein, and this is just in one serving size. 13 grams of protein. There's only 6 grams of sugar, and there's 10 grams of fiber, which is awesome. And most breakfasts, what I notice, most people when they have breakfast, they lack protein and fiber because you want to make sure you're getting all your nutrients in all at the same time. And for a breakfast, you need about a good, depending on your body size, about 15 to 25 grams of protein. So most cereals, if you look at some of these others like this Puffins, this only has 2 grams of protein. So there's not a lot of protein in here. And for what I normally do, just to get these out of my way, I'll put these off to the side, is I usually have it with some kind of soy milk, but anything 1% or skim milk, it works just as well. But we have, Christina's a big fan of the 1% milk, and I'm a big fan of soy milk. So I just get usually either, I like Silk. Silk is a great soy milk. I usually get it unsweetened, but if you're kind of new to soy and you're kind of thinking it's going to taste kind of like crap, so I would go for Silk Vanilla because it gives a lot of flavor to it. And Christina's a big fan of milk, so she goes for the 1% of the skim. So we just pour that, I just put it basically in, because I can't trust myself and measure it out perfectly, I usually just have a measuring cup, which we have right over here. And I'll just measure out a cup of cereal, and then I'll measure in a cup of milk, and I'm pretty good to go. And what I have after that is I have a piece of bread and some peanut butter. Some of my favorite peanut butters are right back here. Now, I'm a big fan of the Trader Joe's peanut butter with no salt, of course. And what's cool about this peanut butter, its only ingredient is dry roasted peanuts, and that's it. It's a healthy, natural form of peanut butter. And Christina's a huge fan of Crazy Richard's peanut butter, which is actually really good too. But she likes this a little bit better, and I kind of like this a little bit better. And what I don't like about natural peanut butter is that they're usually separated. You got your big wad of peanut butter at the bottom and that big oil layer at the top. And what I like about the Trader Joe's peanut butter is it isn't like that. It's kind of all mixed in, so it's easier to scoop it around. It's not some big wad of oil on the top, which I squish all over the place when I try to mix them up. And the Crazy Richard's is actually pretty good with that too. And a little trick sometimes to get rid of that little oil is when you store it in your pantry, just turn it upside down. So the oil will mix in before you even open it up. So that's a little trick of the trade. So I get that, and for bread, there's a lot of breads out there, and unfortunately they're mostly pretty crummy for you. So one of my favorite breads is, I'm sure you probably can't see this too well, but it's called Ezekiel bread. And just so you can spell it, it's Ezekiel, and it says there's a little ratio, it says 4 to 9. And it's basically, it says sprouted 100% whole grain bread. And what's awesome about this bread is its low glycemic index, which is just letting you know how much it's going to raise your blood sugar, but it's 36, which is really, really low. Like table sugar is like 99 to 100, and most breads are like 70 to 80, and this little slice of bread here has 4 grams of protein. It has no sugar in it, and it's all, if you looked at the ingredients, I read them to you, there's like 6 ingredients, and they're all millet, barley. It's an awesome, awesome bread. It's probably the best bread I've ever seen. And because it has like 4 grams of protein in it, it's awesome, because most breads don't even have maybe 1 per slice, let alone 4 grams per slice. So I always just have a slice of this, and I just put a little tablespoon of my peanut butter on there to give me my little protein kick, because even though my Go Lean cereal has about 13 grams of protein, I still need a little bit more. So that's why I put a little tablespoon of my little Trader Joe's and have my slice of Ezekiel. And I freeze my bread, because unfortunately the healthier a bread gets, the more stale it gets really quickly. So you want to make sure you store this. I'd like to toast it anyway, so I just freeze it as soon as I get it, because these natural breads, these whole grain breads, don't last very long on a shelf life, so make sure you freeze them and just toast them away. Some other good cereals are Baker's. It's called Baker's brand. Really good bread. They have rye, pumpernickel. I like all their flavors. Some of the supermarkets I go to don't always have it. So the Ezekiel is pretty common. I get this at Trader Joe's. I get this. You can get this at Whole Foods. You can get this at all your big chain supermarkets. But one of the keys is when you're looking for bread, and also not just bread, but some other your whole grain. When you're looking for whole grain cereals, just try to make sure what you don't see in the first 5 ingredients. You don't want to see this at all in any of the ingredients. But if you're kind of getting down into a crunch, make sure you don't see it in the first 5 ingredients. First of all, you don't want to see anything that has any kind of flour, enriched or otherwise. You don't want any kind of flour unless it's a whole wheat flour. You also want to look for anything that doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup, so make sure that's not in the top 5 ingredients, or not in it at all. That's even more preferable. Hydrogenated oils, and just plain old sugar. You don't want that mixed in either. So those are kind of your 4 little things to stay away from. And I'm a big fan of Dr. Oz, so he's a big fan of that as well. So I just want to reiterate that with you guys. Make sure whatever bread you're looking at there, because when you go into a bread aisle, it can look like a football field of about 50,000 breads, and unfortunately about 98% of them don't fall within those guidelines. So that's why Ezekiel, Baker's brand is a really good brand. They're specialty brands, but you can find them at like Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and you should be able to find these at super